Hi everyone, yes, we have a new Gatsby major, and in this video I'll walk you through some of the most exciting features that will be shipping with Gatsby 5. Let's get to it. Currently with the Gatsby website, if I open the network panel here and hit refresh, you can see that we always ship JavaScript, even though here we don't have any interactive elements. The only one we have is here, this counter. So what if we can ship only the necessary JavaScript to make this counter interactive and ignore anything else? And that's how we can do it with partial hydration. So let's go to our project here, and to enable partial hydration you need to go to Gatsby config and enable a flag. Since this is an experimental, in the future this will be on by default. And I go to my counter component here and then add the client export. And this is the page that uses the counter here. You can see it's all like static, and we're loading our counter component in here. So let's stop our server, build and serve again. Okay, now going back to our website. Let's go to our partial hydration. You can see the counter still works, and if we refresh here and take a closer look at the network panel, you can see we still ship the app JS here because that's necessary. But here, if you can see that we actually only shipping that code for the counter. But then if you go to like the home page, there's no code shipped because the counter doesn't exist there. It only exists in this page. So that's partial hydration. In a lot of cases, Gatsby is really good at building only the pages that changed, but there is an edge case that will make Gatsby build pages more than we need or more than we want. And this case is the shared component across pages. So if that shared component changes, it will trigger a rebuild for all the pages that require that. And to see an example here, for example, if we go to our blog starter, so if we go to the first blog post and scroll all the way down here, this is a shared component, the author. We use that because it's the same, but the author can change. So if we go here to this post, you can see we're using the same component. So if we update the bio for Josh here, it will trigger a rebuild for all the pages that are using this author component. Let's take a look at the code. This is the component I'm talking about. So this is a normal workflow that you would do in all the pages and have reusable components. The slices, however, will allow us to create a slice out of this component and only build this component and stitch it together on Gatsby Cloud with all the pages that require that. So this means that we only build this slice or this component, and we don't need to rebuild all the other pages. This will decrease significantly the build time, sometimes up to 90%. So let's take a look at that. First, let's go to our Gatsby node. So inside of create pages, there's now a new create slice inside of actions, and you create the slice. This will have an ID and then link to the component. So here I'm creating a few slices for the header and the footer. These are all shared components. And then we have the author. Since we have multiple authors, we can create multiple slices. So what I will do here, I will query all the authors I have in Contentful and get their Contentful ID, and then go through all the authors and create a slice with the ID if bio and then the author ID, and then give it the author component that will represent that slice. And then you can also pass in a context element here. In here I'm passing the ID that I can use later on to query the author informations. So now how do we link the author or like the author slice to the correct page? In that, we can go here when creating our blog post template. We query all the contentful posts but also we query the author with a contentful ID, and that will be useful later in here. So here you can see we're looping through all the posts and creating the page, passing the path, the component, and passing the context as normal. And you can see here there's a new property called slice or slices. In here we can say, okay, for the bio slice, use this one, which is the one we queried with this post. Then if we go to like the bio component, you can see here, since we passed the ID into the context, we can query all the informations needed for this author and fill it out. And if we go to our blog post template, we now have this new slice component, and then you give it an alias of bio. So this will know that, hey, I need to load the component with the correct author. And when Gatsby sees this slice component, it will know that if that piece of code changed or the data related to it changed, we only build that and then get stitched. So now we have slices. Let's go to Gatsby Cloud and see this in action. So back at our website, now I have it hosted on Gatsby Cloud. What I want to do is go to Contentful and pick an author. And let's change something in Josh. And then here we can say great things, and let's hit publish. I already have a webhook set up to trigger builds, so that's published. And then if we go to the Gatsby Cloud, you can see here there's a build, and you can see already here in the logs that we only built one HTML page. This is the slice, and 0 pages, and now we are already at deploying to cloud. You can see that we finished the build in 1 second. This is how fast things can go with slices, and this will be even more useful for bigger and bigger sites. And then if we go to our site here, you can see we have everything stitched together. And we have Josh and then the new content.